Welcome to the lazyfluency podcast, where we have casual conversations switching between English and Japanese, so you can learn from and with us along the way. I'm Joey.
And I'm Yami.
And the topic of the day is Halloween. But before we get into that, make sure to like, subscribe, follow, and to drop a review on whatever platform you're listening on. We appreciate the support. And with that out of the way, Halloween. Yay! For those people who are audio listeners, you might not be able to see, but we are currently dressed up in the festive spirit of Halloween. I have actually many costumes. Sadly, almost all of them require masks. So like in the background, you can see a no face and an Obito from Naruto costume in my background shot. And the problem is, if we are wearing a mask, it's kind of hard to speak into the mic. So instead, I'm dressed up as a pirate arc, and I have a telescope.
本格的だね。ちゃんと肩の上にオウムもいるし。
Yeah. And Aimi is dressed up as a doctor because on short notice of us deciding to dress up, it's kind of, I don't know if it counts as dressing up, but, you know.
そうね。だって今日気づいたもんね。もうすぐハロウィンだってなって。じゃあコスチュームなんか着ないといけないってなったけど、ね。残念ながら私はコスチュームを持っていなかったので、医者のコスチュームっていうか、もうユニフォームだね。
Yeah, we take it very seriously dressing up, so we got an official doctor uniform. Yeah, but anyways, so today the topic is Halloween. We might have done something similar before when it comes to holidays, but this is a dedicated Halloween episode. We're going to be talking about Halloween in the US and Halloween in Japan, as well as whether or not anything is going wrong with Halloween in terms of accidents and other stuff. First off, I kind of think I should establish. Actually, no. I'm curious to see what is Halloween like in Japan. Ayame. There are many aspects, but what is your general sentiment? Like when you think Halloween, how do you celebrate it? What do you do?
ハロウィンっていうね単語を聞いたときには、まず最初に仮装、コスチューム着たりとかっていうのは思い浮かべるよね。あと、
Yeah.
ハロウィンパーティーでなんかお菓子とかあとは、そうだね。学生だとやっぱりお菓子ちょっといっぱい広げてね、食べるっていうのはなんかちょっと寂しいけどそういうのは思い浮かべるかも。うん。
As in, how do you get the candy? Somebody just buys candy and everybody eats it?
そうそう。なんかみんなで持ち寄って、なんか今の時期だとさ、そのパッケージが可愛くなるのね。なんかかぼちゃのパッケージとか、かぼちゃ味っていうかなんかそういうハロウィンっぽいやつが、お菓子で増えるから、なんかそういうの持ち寄って、ね、パーティーする、お菓子パーティーみたいなのは、するかな。
Do you guys do pumpkin carvings?
やらないね。あれでしょ？ジャック・オー・ランタンの作るやつでしょ？
Yeah, exactly.
そもそも、なんか去年、ジョイとね、やったけど、でっかいかぼちゃをね、ゲットするのがすごく困難でね、やっぱちっちゃいかぼちゃしか見つかんないんだよ。そう。だから、あんまりね、メジャーじゃないかな。そうそう。
Yeah, when I was in Japan, I helped out some, or I guess volunteered to, was I paid? I might have been paid. I'm not sure. Either way, I was with some elementary school students carving pumpkins in a Japanese, elementary school. So that was fun. But I think that what we learned is that normal, like pumpkins are the pumpkins I'm used to are apparently not the average pumpkin in Japan.
ないね。そうね、ないかもね。
What are the color? Are the Japanese ones green? I can't remember.
かぼちゃ、スーパーで売ってるかぼちゃは、周り、皮が緑かな？で、そもそもアメリカだと、普通にハロウィン街で食べるかぼちゃっていうのは何色なの？
Orange.
そうなんだ。じゃあもともともその色がかぼちゃの色。
Yes. Yeah.
そうなんだ。日本だと緑か、緑プラスちょっと黄色がちょっと入ってる感じかな。
Yeah, that's completely different. No, yeah. I mean, we actually grew pumpkins. I grew pumpkins this year. So I have official homegrown Halloweeny pumpkins.
ああ、なかなかね、そう、見つけるの大変だから、いいな。
And yeah, in America, one of the things that's big is doing trick or treating. So basically, maybe for the hopefully Japanese listeners that we may or may not have, is where you go around a neighborhood or other region of a town or location, going door to door, knocking on people's doors, and then you say trick or treat, give me something good to eat. And then there's a full song, like if you don't something something. I'm not entirely sure, but and then yeah, you get candy. And that was when I was a kid. That was like Halloween was one of my favorite holidays because I normally didn't eat that much candy, just generally throughout the year. But like it was like a weird way of Halloween's kind of a weird way of instilling like American capitalism into children, where they're like, it's like a weird like it's kind of, if you think of candy as money, it's kind of like how much money you get is dependent on your own effort and hard work. And you have to get money. So I'd go trick-or-treating for like 4 or 5 hours and walk like, I don't know, 5-6 miles. Because you go, it's very slow because you have to go to every house on both sides of the street. I mean, assuming they have decorations up. But yeah, I'm assuming that's not done in Japan then. I take it.
なんかさ、今思ったけどさ、知らない人のうちにトントンしてさ、trick or treat するじゃん
Yeah.
でさ、なんか、もし悪い人がいて、なんか、キャンディーに毒とか入れてたらさ、どうすんの
That was an actual thing, where people put, apparently, I don't know if it's an actual thing or a myth, but where people put razor blades inside apples. Or maybe just general candy in general. And yeah, that was really dangerous. And then I remember that caused a little scare. And so that's why, like, maybe one of the reasons that I don't know if Halloween was always candy, but one of the upsides of candy is it's wrapped. So somebody obviously could like put a needle. Yeah, exactly. If they wanted to, but who in like a neighborhood is wanting to poison the children of the neighborhood? It does require a degree of trust. In Japan, it seems like it'd actually be so easy to do because I don't know. It's like a weird. People are very like in theory. I don't think people would do weird things, but people I feel like in general tend to be over paranoid in Japan, from my experience. Like when I was my host, yeah, go ahead.
ごめん、よく小さい時にさ、教えられるのが、知らない人から物をもらわない。よく言われるの。
Yeah.
お菓子では何なんで、何が入ってるか分かんないからね。
I just feel it's so, I find it weird how there's like there's always this notion, and even Japanese people say themselves, Japan was an island nation, so everybody needs to get along, or else you get taken away from the island or exiled. And it's like, bruh, if you guys are all supposed to be one unit, why don't you trust each other?
いや、でもさ、やっぱ怖いじゃん。何するか分かんないよ。
No, it's not scary at all. I had no fear in my heart when I was trick-or-treating. Although I did have people, you do get people who mess with you sometimes. I remember going to, I still remember to this day, because I think it was like he was just messing with us nowadays, but we went to trick-or-treating and we opened up somebody's door and we did the whole trick-or-treat, smell my feet, give me something good to eat, whatever. And then the person opened the door, and I remember it looked like they had a scar or something going down like their stomach or something, or they were like leaning past partially with the door open, and then they were like, when I went trick-or-treating when I was a boy, it was very dangerous. I remember jumping over an electric fence, and then it caught halfway and immobilized my lower body. So beware when you're trick-or-treating, because you don't know what you'll get or something. And I was like, but I remember as a kid, I was like, whoa, I believe the dude. I was like, oh, dang, that's crazy. That's what happens when you go trick-or-treating. So you do get people who mess with you, but most of the time, it's a pretty good vibe. You just have to, it's funny because year after year, when you're young, you know which houses are, because you like hit all of them if you live in a small enough location, that you know which houses have the best candy, and there's kind of like a tier list of the best houses to hit up. And one's near like
Yeah.
like in the rich neighborhoods, always like they hand out like big like bars are worth $1 per bar. Uh, and I rarely got those because only like a few places did them where I live. But yeah,
なるほどね。あとは、なんだろう。たまにさ、その、子供に、なんだろう。natural things しか与えない親いるじゃん。that candy is, 毒だから、トリックオア
yeah.
トリートダメ
That's
みた
why
いなさ。
Halloween's good. Is you're supposed to override the thing. Is you're like, come on, like a parent. You're supposed to say to the parent, come on. It's literally one day. What are you doing? But I
た
mean, it
ま
is
にいる
true.
じゃん。う
Yeah,
ちは有機野菜しか食べないのみたいな。
yeah. No, seriously. No, I mean, I remember my grandma developed a lot of what's it called? Stirred up a lot of feelings of anger with me when I was a kid because
うん。
every year I'd be so proud of all the candy I got, and suddenly like 2 days afterwards, my bag would be gone or empty. It'd be like, what happened to my bag? And everybody would be like, I don't know. And I know they stole my bag and took away my candy. I still resent it to this day. I worked so hard for that candy.
まあでもさ、あれだね、キャンディーいっぱいさ、食べるのはやっぱさ、まあ、その一日だからいいけどね。もしさ、そういうベジタリアンみたいな人がいたらさ、なんだ、レーズンとかでやるのかなわかんないけど。
Well, you don't. Oh no, I mean vegetarians will be fine. Vegans would probably worry about milk
あ、ビー
chocolates.
ガンか。そうそうそう。
Yeah,
ああ、
maybe milk
ミルクチョ
chocolate
コ
they
レートダ
wouldn't
メなん
eat.
だ。そう
But
そう。
most candy, I mean, most candy is vegetarian. I feel like at least. So I don't think that's
あ
that specifically is a problem.
ー
But yeah, no, I mean, I definitely I feel like it'd be too hard to actually start getting people to do trick or treating in Japan. Just because there for some reason isn't any trust between people, even though there's supposed to be trust, there like isn't trust. You know what I mean?
なんかね、あんまりね、知らない人をうちに招いたりとか絶対しないから、そもそもだって知らない人のとこトントンって行くわけじゃん。
Yeah,
だからそれ
yeah.
自
That's
体が
that's
ね、あん
that's
ま
what
り
you
ね、
call that's what you call lack of trust. See, that's what I'm saying.
そうそうそう、そうだね。ないね。ママ友同士のさ、お家だったら、まあ、ね、知ってるからやるけどって感じかな。
I kind of want to just be like the one the one adult going around trick or treating in Japan and just just to see how
それ
people
は
react.
ただの、
What are you doing?
それはただのホームレスだって。
Maybe
Begging for food でしょ。
I can't remember when the last time I trick or treated was, but I feel like I was still a kid, like in elementary school or maybe the first year of middle school or something, and I went trick or treating, and it was the last time I did because one of the people who opened the door was like, "Aren't you too old for trick or treating?" And now in hindsight, I'm like, what kind of asshole tells it? Dude, I was probably what 6th, 7th grade. Just is that seriously? I mean, I don't know. Maybe that's too old, but like, who gets off on
何歳までなの？
attacking? I don't know. At some
小
point
学生
you
まで
just
OK なの
realize,
かな？
and it's basically it's like at some point you realize you're significantly taller than everybody else trick or treating, and then you decide that you're probably too old, and it's just embarrassing.
コメディとかでありそうじゃない？なんか子供に勝ってさ、大人がトリックオアトリートする、そういう映画ありそうなんか。
Yeah, but yeah, aside from the children celebrations, I'd say most of the adult celebrations are kind of just going somewhere and getting drunk. But it's getting drunk with extra steps. You basically, instead of getting
Extra
drunk off of
steps
just
って何？
as in, like it looks like, for example, if you're doing like a vampire themed party, it'd be like, oh, you're actually drinking blood, but it's like punch, like alcoholic punch or something,
あー。
like fruit punch.
はい
Yeah.
はいはい。なるほどね。
Do they? I know. So because I have some articles here that I looked in for. 2018, there was an incident in Shibuya where 4 people flipped over a small truck, and also I think 19 people. Let me see. It's like 19. There were 19 incidents of theft and groping, or 19 people were arrested for violent behavior, theft, and or molesting people. And so This
あっ
year,
たかもね。そうだ。
yeah, this year they have police out on the Shibuya crossing to prevent that. And oh yeah, it should be Halloween. The episode we're doing this in America, and one day after Halloween in Japan when this episode comes out. So, well, I guess we'll know what happened. I don't know. Do you think there'll be anything bad that happens? How do you have you ever been to one of those big Halloween events? I'm wondering what adult is it just did people just get blasted? Like is there any Halloween part to it, or do people just get drunk like usual?
なんか、やっぱりハロウィンってさ、気分上がるから、みんなさ、路上で飲むんじゃない？それか、まあ飲んだ後さ、
No,
なんか、
but what's the Halloweeny part? Where's the like the do they okay they just but they don't drink like special cool alcohol, like it's not like the blood or like black
あ、まああるんじゃない？
sludge
なん
or
か、うん。やっぱり場所によってはさ、ハロウィン限定のそういう、ね、例えば、カクテルの中に目玉っぽいやつが入ってたりとか、まあ色がさ、ちょっと毒々しくて紫だの、緑だの赤とかさ、そういうやつはまあ増えるんじゃない？ハロウィン限定の商品でみたいな。
oh well I mean I'm not sure. Can I take you haven't been to one of the Shibuya Halloween events then?
行ったことないよ。だって、そうね。高校行ってた時はさ、やっぱ学生だから行けないし、大学入ってからもさ、行ってないね。I'm not a
I mean
party people.
I remember wanting to go. Well, it's not about the party people. I just want to see people
行
flip
きた
some
いよね。なんか
cars.
どんな感じだから、そうそう。
Yeah.
そう
Okay,
ね。
well, our reporter Ayami is failing us here.
ご
You
めん
could
なさい。
still
で
go
もね、
though.
行って
You
みた
could
い。
still go.
いや、そうだね。
You could still, yeah.
いや、でも、残念ながら、ハロウィンの日はね、私、エグザムがありますので、存分に楽
That's
しんで
such
ま
a
いります、エ
bummer.
グザムを。ちゃんとエグザムがあり
Yeah.
ますんでね。テューマーのエグザムですのでね。はい。
I know that haunted houses, or at least the idea of haunted houses, has spread to Japan, but I've never seen it on Halloween. I've only ever seen it in Bunkasai, or the cultural fest.
文化祭でね、やるね。段ボールでなんか作って、やるね。
Yeah, I wonder how that transformed. They took part of the holiday and then just like shifted it to be part of the cultural festival. Maybe actually, what does cultural festival mean? What culture? Is it Japanese culture? That's a very
あ、
good.
全然、
I never thought about that.
確かになんで文化祭って言うんだろうね。その文化祭っていうのがもう、なんだ、directly translated だと cultural festival だけど、実際は school festival だね。open day.
Yeah. I mean, yeah,
だから、
even when
まあ、
the college I went to, they had like a big giant tree that kind of was like decorated like a Christmas tree. And it wasn't Christmas. It wasn't close to Christmas either. We were pretty far away from Christmas.
文化祭は、クラスごととか、まあ、部活ごととかで、なんか出し物を決めて、それをみんなになんか、出して、ね、楽しもうっていう。まあ、学校の様子みたいな。様子でもないけど、まあ、そう。だから、全然文化は関係ない。
Do people decorate their houses?
ハロウィンで？
Yeah, like in the street.
まあ、そういうのが好きな家はやるのかな？かぼちゃのなんかとか。でも、クリスマスでやる人の方が多いとは思う。イメージ的に。
Yeah,
クリスマスって
the
ライティング、
yeah.
そう。とかね。
The rule for Halloween when trick-or-treating is that if they don't have their lights on or they don't have decorations, I think it's either or, then you don't trick-or-treat there. Because there definitely are some salty, how I would imagine Japanese people in America where they like hate children. I mean, I hate children too, but you don't hate children on Halloween. That's literally the whole point. So, yeah, I definitely remember some of my friends like knowing like the old neighborhood. I mean, the neighborhood with the angry old man. But the thing with children is when they know you don't like them, that just makes children be more obnoxious. So when I was a kid, several people's houses were TP'd, which is like throwing toilet paper all over their house every year because they were known for not giving candy to people.
かわいそうに。
Yeah. And there's also egging too, where you throw eggs. That's part of the trick, I guess. No, it is trick or treat. So it's either you give children treats or you get tricked, but it's not less of a trick. I guess there was ding dong ditching, which is you walk up, you hit the doorbell, and then you run away.
ピンポンダッシュだ。ピンポンダッシュ。ディンドン何？ディンドン。
Ding dong ditch.
ピンポンダッシュで。そうそう、日本語だと。
Okay, given that you know that, does that mean that people actually do that in Japan? Do ding dong ditching? I can't imagine it.
ピンポンダッシュは、ハロウィン、ハロウィンは関係ないけど、ちっちゃい子がいたずらでやるやつ。
Okay. Yeah. Okay, I guess I can sort of imagine it. But yeah, no, people are very mischievous. There's also, back to the haunted houses, there's a big scene in the US for doing like very extreme haunted houses. Like ones where you have to sign a waiver because you can potentially get injured. I know there's like it's not really Halloween related, I don't think, but I remember watching some sort of documentary about a version of maybe it was a haunted house actually, where they're allowed to touch you and like partially drown you, but you're like gonna be safe because they won't kill you, and it seems like borderline self-inflicted torture, but it's somehow legal because you sign a waiver. Yeah.
それアミューズメントパーク、遊園地とかであるやつ？
No. These are like the whole. No. Oh my gosh, no. Disney would not do something like that. This is like specialty places that's their whole thing. They're like they're meant to be a brutal haunted house. I did hear some really a cool idea. I can't remember where I read it. It was like Reddit or something, where somebody was like, for Halloween they should set up an entire mansion with zombies and do like a kind of zombie survival horror simulation game in there. Do you know what I'm saying? Like you and like two other people, whatever, are in a room, and you have more and more zombies invade, and maybe it's laser tag. I don't know how the zombies will fall down, but I need to figure out the rules. But that seems like it'd be a pretty good time.
はあ。ホーンテッドハウスね。あんまり日本だと、専門のとこはないのかな？知らないだけかもしれないけど。富士急ってとこのホーンテッドハウスは怖いのは聞いたことある。めっちゃ、日本一怖いのかな？で、長いし、みたいな。
Like, is it like a full, like, hour or something? How long is the...
わかんない。なんか歩く距離がめっちゃ長いみたいな。確か。
I'll have to check it out. I haven't been to a Halloween event in quite a while. But yeah, I'm totally down. Do they watch scary? Do you do the horror movies in Japan? I'm trying to figure out to what extent it's actually celebrated.
ホラームービーはあるけどね。
Like theaters, are there going to be like a Halloween special of like, I don't know, Ringu or what's another Japanese horror film?
申し訳ないけど私ホラームービー興味なさすぎて全然情報知らないんだよね。
Or not Jumon, was it Jugon?
Juonかな？
Juon? Yeah, Juon. There we go. Yeah. Yeah.
まあ、あるんじゃない？
I don't know. That's what I'm asking you for. So you're Halloween hater is what it sounds like.
Hater じゃなくて興味がないからさ。
That's because you haven't gotten the joy of the candy. That's what I'm saying. Trick or treat is what...
いや違うよ。この年齢でやったらやばいって。しかも日本で。
Well, that's why, yeah, the adult parties, that's what they're for. My biggest problem, since I don't drink, there's not really, I think, much place for me in most of these adult parties. Because it's kind of like wander around and get drunk. And I'm all down for wandering around. And I'm actually all around for watching people get drunk. But normally going in a group, being the one guy who doesn't, although it can be helpful when everybody's blasted, it does tend to not make you the number one choice to decide, hey, let's go with Joey to not see him get blasted.
確かにね、誰か世話する人がいないとね、周りが飲んでたら。
Yeah.
私ね、あれだ、去年か一昨年ぐらいに、ハロウィンがテーマの、そのホテル afternoon tea みたいなやつがあって、そういうのは行ったよ。
Yeah, that doesn't seem Halloween at all. It seems nice. Afternoon tea. Afternoon tea is just like
afternoon tea っていうか、なんか
British
バフェみたい
cosplay.
な。なんて言うんだろう。だから全部そのフードが、例えば、デザートだったら、あれ。
ハロウィーン
そのケーキの、そう、上に目玉乗ってたり、あと、なんだ、かぼちゃの形のクッキーだの、あと、料理、パスタだったら黒い、スクエッドインクのね、イカスミのパスタとかなんか、ちょっとグロテスクな感じのやつが、ハロウィンっぽいじゃん。
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I mean, yeah, that's Halloween.
そうそう。そういうの、結構そういうやつやってるとこ多いよ。うん、
But yeah, let us know how you guys are celebrating Halloween. 戻りました。
Yes, we're back.
雪降ってるんだよ。大変。マジで。
Right now?
いや、まあ降ってるというか、昨日降ってた初めて。
No.
すごく残念に思う。
Yeah. Sounds like winter.
まあ今秋だけど、雪の通らが嫌すぎて、何をするかちょっとわからなくなってしまった。
Is it cold?
そう、寒くなってる。ビニールハウスなかったら全部の植物死ぬと思う。
Oh, I'm sorry. But yeah.
す
It's
ごく
getting
悲しい。
colder and colder here too.
唯一のいいことは、まあホロウィンだから、飴、食べられるかもしれない。よかった。
Okay. but you don't do a trick or treat, right?
いや、
So you can't
そうだ
get
けど、キャンディーを買える。なんかハロウィンだからキャンディー食べようよみたいな雰囲気で。自分がキャンディー食べたいというわけじゃなくて、ハロウィンだからこそ、そのホリデーをちゃんと言わなくちゃいけないってこと。
yeah, you gotta enjoy
それが大
that,
事。
yeah.
そう。
Yeah.
でも、他の、まあ、ニュースじゃないんだけど、まあ、今週起こったことは、ヒッチハイキングした人と話した。で、それがなぜ面白いかというと、日本人でした。で、なんか日本でヒッチハイクをする人は、まあ、ヒッチハイキングということは存在するなんて知らなかったんだから、それ気になった。で、あいみも偶然にヒッチハイキングと話した、そのヒッチハイキングやった人と話したでしょ？
Yeah, but it was a woman, so is it a guy for you?
いや、女性でした。
Oh, really?
そう。
Is it the same person?
そういう可能性あるかも。名前知らんけど。
Yeah, what's her story?
まあ、なんか、妹がやってたから、私も、いや、妹か友達、わかんないんだけど、そういう人がやったから、その人やりたかったというきっかけで、まあ、日本で、なんか、東京から、どこまで東京から青森までとかみたいなことをヒッチハイキングでやったみたい。青森だったかどうかわからないんだけど。いや、東京から大阪。そう。東京から大阪。
The opposite direction.
いや、そう。青森の話もしてたから、私が、なんか、その一番本州の下から上までやりたいとか言い出したんだから。
So it's inside Japan, right?
そう。でもカナダでもやったらしい。
Canada?
ヒッチハイキング。
Oh. Like I heard, like for women, it is kind of dangerous to do hitchhike because like, you might be, involved in like some accidents or like like so many crimes are there, in the world. So.
いろんなホラー映画は実はその設定で始まる。
Oh, really?
そう。なんか道路の中でなんか助けて、迷ってるから助けてくださいみたいなことで、それ助けられてると思ってるんだけど、実際は まあ、セクハラとか、
Yeah.
もっとひどいことが起こる。Human Centipede という映画はその話だと思う。Human Centipede はめっちゃグロいんだから、その話しない方がいいかもね。
Okay.
でもとりあえず、そのTrick or Treating の話、その Hitch Hiking と Trick or Treating の話は似てると思う。そのなんか他人を信じなくちゃいけないので、それなんか誰がそんなことを、まあ女性だったらわかる。そのなんか、まあなんていうか、その誰かを拾わなくちゃいけないなら、女性だったら、そのなんか想像できる。でも私みたいな人がそのヒッチハイキングやろうとしたら、多分怖がれるだけだと思う。どう思うの日本で。まあ日本人じゃないし、その男という点では怖い。人を怖がる可能性も高いし、でもやっぱりやりたいなと思った。
Yeah, me too. I want to try, but like, yeah, so since I heard like women were, it's kind of dangerous, so I don't know if I can do that. Yeah.
ど
So,
こからどこまで
the person I taught,
や
like
ろうとしたら。
in the world, like in other countries, like Europe or maybe America or
それ
Canada
も
too.
一番やばいでしょ
Yeah, but like the person I talked to, she said she did a Europe hitchhike backpacking trip
うん。
for 1 month, and
す
she
ごい。
didn't even she just bought plane tickets, like just
うん
like
行き来。
行きだけ like
あ、
not 帰り
そうそうそう。
so just one
ヨ
like
ーロ
one
ッパ
way
でできる。
ticket.
その、
Yeah.
聞いたことある。そういう話。ヒッチハイキングじゃなくて、その、飛行機であるところに行って、それで電車に戻って、それ電車に乗りながら、それぞれの地域、で観光するみたいな、なんていう、おすすめ。
Yeah.
でも、ハイキングは違う。ヒッチ
But
ハイキングは違う。ヒッチハイクは違う。
The surprising thing about her was she did that like when she was in university, and she's like a 50-year-old woman. So like back then they as she didn't have any of course a smartphone or like telephone.
うん。
So she just had this thick book map or
The
something.
Atlas?
So
Atlas? かな
address.
Atlas.
Maybe. So
地図
yeah,
みた
so
いな
she
もの。
had to ask people where she could stay and how to
あ、
get
泊まる
to
場所なかった。
places she wanted to.
で
Yeah.
もお金一応あったこの人は。
Yeah, I guess like you need money. Yeah, definitely. So
いやいやいや、そのなんかす
But
ごい
it's-
チャレンジは、ヒッチハイクだけじゃなくて、お金を借りることでなんか生きること。実はそういう動画が流行ってた最近。なんか、1 cent, what was it? I survived for 30
you
days
changed
on
something,
one
right?
penny or
物々
something.
交換。
そうそうそうそうそう。
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I watched that like on YouTube. Yeah, too. So yeah, but I want to try that. Yeah. What about you? You wanna
や
try?
りたいか。そう。
Yeah.
面白い動画にできると思うから。でも、なんていうか、多分、まあアメリカだとほとんどの人はトラッカーという、その、なんか仕事として毎日16時間ぐらい、車に乗らなくちゃいけないので、まあ運転しなくちゃいけないので、多分他に人と話せるなら、まあ楽。でも日本だと、どうかなタクシーの人誰がなんか東京から、まあ大阪まで、大阪からなんか青森まで車で行けるのなんか電車あるんだから。
For like people who already plan to go to the like place, like as a family trip or just a self.
でも電車で行けるんじゃない
No, like people Yeah, there are people who prefer, using cars. Yeah, like, yeah,
車への
even
怒りが出ちゃった。
my friends, like, my university has like many people from other prefectures. So when they go to their parents' house, yeah, some people they use their cars to get to their parents' house. Yeah, like in Shikoku or in Tohoku area or in like Niigata, yeah, direction. So yeah, there are people like that. So
ちなみに先週ヒッチハイクのことについて話したっけ？
I don't think so.
ないといいね。ちょっとだけ。何でしたっけ？英語での言葉。何でやったっけ？このようなことを、これなんか2回目という感じ。英語でそういうような言葉あるんだけど、今思い出せない。
デジャブ？
デジャブ、yes.
なんで why do I know the English word?
日本語の脳だから今思い出せない。
Yeah, we switched.
多分この鳥のせい。
yeah,
鳥
it's
かわいいでしょ。
Halloween magic.
あ、
yeah.
落ちた !No! 鳥さん、戻れ。
No. Yeah, that bird actually, yeah, looks really cheap.
いや、生きてるんだよ、もう。
It's an actual bird. Yeah.
そう、まあ、とりあえずそれは今週の出来事でした。
鳥だけにとりあえず。Yep.
And we're back with the final section, which means that you should send an email to lazyfluency@gmail.com and drop an Apple review, please. For the love of God, drop an Apple review. This week,
だからね。
Yeah, it's Halloween. You know, they say, yeah, it's like the old school giving an apple for Halloween. In this case, don't leave razor blades, and instead of giving us an apple, go to Apple Podcast. Give us a review. Give us a Halloween special review. Anyways, this week we have 2 comments that were very long. Again, appreciated though. We always like reading long comments, but to have a focused answering on them, or a little more time to answer, we're mainly going to be talking about part of those comments in regards to last week's subject, which was cram school. And with that out of the way, I will read the first comment from our MVP VIP commenter Shotcox. I agree with the whole education thing. Stress-free learning is always the way to go. I went through this with sightseeing and music theory, and it's always been true. The best way to learn is to absorb it in a stress-free way. I didn't really get music theory until I started engaging in YouTubers, and I didn't get good at transcribing until I heard music until I started doing that for fun. In a classroom setting, the only way we would practice is under the rigor of a teacher playing chords and us having to write them down in silence and then try again. Oh my gosh, this eye patch is making this difficult, by the way. when the best way to learn is to hear it, and then you can find it on your own keyboard or make your own music writing way. The important part being you can make a mistake and correct it without failing a quiz. I could even take it further and say that goals in general are a problem, at least how we look at goals. So many people see goals in their entire life as preparation for those goals. In a way, like, my life won't start until I'm in college. Everything before is preparation for my life to really start. Or some people with language learning. Once I'm done learning Japanese, then I can finally start living as a person who knows Japanese. Learn to get the good college, then the good job, then raise up in the job, and then life really starts when you retire. Then you die depressed because you ran out of goals and never lived life. I don't think goals are the root of all evil, but I also think people don't use goals properly. That'll be my hot take of the day. So in summary, basically, stress-free environments are great for learning, and goals should not be the only focus of why you do something. And I definitely agree with that. Do you have any thoughts about that, Ayumi?
そうだね。まあ definitely そうだし、なんだろう。これも結構いろんなね、エピソードで言ったと思うけどさ、例えば単語テストだったらさ、なんか合ってる合ってないをみんな目指しちゃうんだよ。やっぱり。何点以上取らないと、不合格だったり、もう一回ね、リテイクしないといけないとか、そういうのあるから、なんていうの、表面上だけでやるんだけど、実際さ、 なんていうの、その学ぶことを楽しんでないじゃんっていうか、なんていうんだろう、どうやって使うとか分かってないし。だからやっぱりそれは違うなとは思うから、そうね。すごいアグリーだね。賛成。
Yeah. Although this is a side comment, I didn't mention I am wearing an eye patch for those audio listeners. So if you're wondering why I just struggled so hard to read this comment, I have to look to the left, but because I'm wearing an eye patch on the left, but I have to read the left. So I'm basically reading text with my peripheral vision over my nose.
確かに視界が半分ないからね。
Yeah, so it's actually a little, I didn't try it until right now. I'm like, wow, this is actually very hard, because something I noticed is something two eyes give you is perspective of depth. And right now I do not have that. And so it's almost like I'm dyslexic, trying to find where the beginning and the end of the sentence is and how they connect to each other. This is brutal. I don't know how pirates did this. Apparently pirates did this to make it so if they got in battle at night or something, or they went down in the decks of their ship, that they could see, their eye would be already adjusted to the dark.
そういうこと？
Yeah,
いや、
no,
目
they
が
do
ない
not
人
have
がす
injured
るやつだ
eyes.
と思ってた。
No, that's not at least why.
そうなんだ。
Yeah. Apparently it was practical. I mean, maybe if you don't have eyes, you do it. But normally if you don't have eyes, people wear glasses, right? They don't cover it. I mean, maybe people use an eye patch.
でもなんだっけ、誰か忘れちゃったけどさ、日本の武士で目がえぐられちゃって、なんか半分いるよ。
I mean, maybe there are. But I've heard that, maybe I don't know if it's true or not, but I've heard that they use it to cover their eyes so that they can see better in the dark when they're switching environments. I mean, I also saw although this is just an anime, I was watching Golden Kamui, which is about this search for this this kind of map code to find a pile of gold or something, but it's located in Hokkaido. And there was a scene in the last episode where this guy is constantly wearing this thing, and they think that his eye's bad, but it's actually because he uses it to see in the dark. So I don't. He's not a pirate, so maybe completely unrelated conversation. But yeah. Anyways, back to this comment. Yeah, I mean, I totally agree. It's like weird though, because for schools the next comment will hit on this, but it's like schools' goal is kind of to give people a base set of skills. But then at the same time, it's not really that goal is kind of like half there, because most people forget a large portion of these skills. But yeah, in general, I definitely think that it's all about, I mean, I hate using this expression because one of my least favorite soccer coaches would always say it. It's all about the journey. You have to enjoy the journey. He didn't say that, but I mean, I think having a goal is definitely very important because it can keep you motivated. But if enjoying the process is the process is the mass majority that you spend your life in, is in the in-between stage. Yeah. So like, if you're not enjoying that, which is the majority of the time, then it's probably going to be very stressful or painful. Yeah. Language learning is definitely like that. Like, for me personally, I don't even see it as me studying Japanese. So I enjoy every aspect as much as I complain about Japanese in Japan. But yeah, I mean, I totally do enjoy every aspect of the language learning process. So yeah. Next comment from Oddity, another probably like VIP. Lieutenant at this point, or general in the commenting game. Always appreciate it. Follow up also on the education. Had a similar but sort of different take from Shawcox, which is formal education has never been an efficient system for knowledge / skill acquisition. To invoke Foucault, no name dropping intended, its main goal has always been to ensure people are literate, to discipline, and as a byproduct, weed out those who refuse to conform. From the looks of it, Japan seems to have taken all that to a rather bleak extreme. Ironically, if the average path of employment there is as you described it, then the system is actually doing a fine job, as the end goal seems to produce dutiful individuals who can operate in an environment with a strict hierarchy and rules. But then, how does this explain the notion, discussed in previous episodes, that high school is the peak of life? If even during high school, most time is spent on your ass studying, as Ayami put it. Also, does Japan have any publicly funded alternative pedagogic systems like Waldorf or democratic education? Nowadays, access to knowledge is no longer gate-kept by old-world power structures, so one can become highly skillful in almost any field without ever resorting to formal means of education. Accordingly, the job market seems to be adapting to this reality and is more open than ever to hiring autodidacts. Does Japan follow this trend as well? So this is the first part of the comment, kind of narrowing it down to three things. One, the goal of school is to make people to be able to conform. Two, does Japan have alternative teaching like systems for people? And three, being has Japan adapted to this thing where people are more able to learn on their own? Do you have any thoughts on that?
このさ、alternative
pedagogic systems. It's ways of teaching. Pedagogy or pedagog something. It's just a way of teaching. That's all it means.
どんな感じで
I should have looked up, sometimes I read the comments beforehand and obviously sort them, but my eyes glanced over Waldorf or democratic education. And so at the moment, I think I know what the democratic education is, but I don't want to guess because I might be wrong about it. My apologies for being unprepared. But do you know if Japan has any alternative systems of like public school education that you can do, or public or private, like that don't follow the traditional kind of like multiple grade levels and everybody like takes saying homeroom classes with stuff that like I'm saying basic classes and then extracurriculars and stuff like that?
なんか多分ね、スクールシステムがどうなってるか分かんないけど、でも私立でも公立でもその文部科学省、なんか国がこういう教育をしてくださいっていうのは絶対やんなくちゃいけなくて、多分ね。で、プラスでその学校でいろんな特徴をやるだと思うよ。例えば、
So you think it happens on top?
そう、on top だね。なんか全部違うのは、多分できないとは思う。なんか、for example だと私の中学高校はなんか探究って言って探究リサーチを自分でして仮説ハイポテシスを立てて、その仮説が合ってるのかをなんか自分で調べるみたいな、そういうのをミドルスクールからやらされたから、多分それはその学校の特徴、それを売りにしてる。
That's pretty cool for middle school.
そうそう。なんか、創造的な生徒を育てるみたいな、そういうの、なんか、モットーがあったから、そういうのをやってるから、なんか、学校によってそういう、ね、なんて言うんだろう、特徴的な、活動はしてるのはあるから、on top of the, あれだね、その基礎的な教育の上でって感じかな、多分。
Yeah, I mean, as far as I know, the general job market still persists off is not, like, if you're wanting to get a high-paying job, it's not going to be from having a great skill set. It's going to be from being somewhere for a long time. So, in that sense, I don't think they're as flexible to autodidacts. Autodidacts, I mean, just is people basically who learn on their own. Although, I mean, it's kind of like, to me, autodidacts is almost like the term polyglot, where it's kind of buzzwordy. It technically means without formal education, but realistically speaking, I mean, a lot of the information that people learn from comes from people with formal education, or comes from people who, I don't know, have a lot of experience. It kind of like autodidacts in me, when I hear it, I hear this impression that somebody just kind of figured it out themselves. They were just like, wow, this thing is so hard, but I just used my high IQ and figured out how to, I don't know, do engineering. But I mean, it's just using online. I kind of see it as just, yeah, like I said, separate way of learning. Like for me, the majority, even though I would study Japanese in college, the majority of my learned Japanese was independent study, and like because most people, like I said, who graduated from the college I did definitely had a good Japanese program. It's just not language learning, especially if it's very difficult. It's really rare for people to actually come out with any proficient use of the language, even if they go through all of the study. And like at my school, it was very common for people who went through all of the Japanese study to not be able to even read a manga, like just a basic manga. without having to look up every word or like not every word on a page, but you know what I'm saying? They couldn't just pick one up and read it. So yeah, I mean, Japanese is also very difficult, especially when you're a beginner. So there's multiple things there, but yeah, so that's kind of a no on that. And what was the first one? Oh yeah, the high school being the peak of your life. So this one, I mean, Japan is filled with contradictions, but what was your take on this? How are you both able to have high school be super stressful, but also be the peak of your life? You had an opinion on this.
ピークね。なんか、私自身、そんなにね、高校全然ピークじゃなかった。なんか別に、なんて言うんだろう。これもさ、人によるんだけどさ、人と学校によるね。なんか普通の高校はさ、いろいろね、友達となんか旅行したりだの。クラスでそういうイベントがあったら、その文化祭でなんかね、そういう出し物をめっちゃ頑張るとかさ、あと、文化祭で、なんだ、パフォームする人とかもいるし。でも私はそういうことをしてなかったから、全然、高校生をしてなかった気がする。ただ、クラスで、勉強して、
Well, I think what you were saying when we talked about this is these are not the same. It's kind of, for example, you're online, it's like, how can you possibly say this when you're also saying this? And people make a general statement about one statement and one statement. But the thing is, those two statements actually come from two different people. And so I think the peak of lives being high school is a different person as the person who's dying. I mean, obviously there's overlap, but I mean, and I think the peak comes from, like I said, for a lot of people, high school has the most flexibility and possibility out of any place in a Japanese person's life because they haven't been put into a job that they're doing their entire life or one set role. They can do multiple things at the same time, which is normally not afforded to them after they start after they go into college or they go into a job, like I said, because people get overworked like crazy. Shout out to bad work environments. And so in a place time that you really want to experiment and try stuff out, high school ends up being that place. And so, and I feel like there's a thing with difficulty. I mean, and I relate to this well, where the most difficult things you do in the moment suck, but in looking back on them in hindsight, I feel very rewarding and nostalgic, assuming it wasn't traumatic to the point of like, I don't know, like somebody died, in which case then I think that'd just be traumatic. But maybe there's something like that playing a role into that as well. Yeah. And then the last thing, what was the last thing? High school, power structures, access to knowledge. The first part, which is their goals ensuring doing a good job. So my pushback to this doing a good job is making people conform, is that let's keep in mind how many problems Japan has as a result of this system. Obviously, a lot of stuff are in play, but Japan has one of the most like decreasing populations in the world right now, and people are unironically worrying about its extinction. And you're like, how is that related to the education history and the hierarchy? Well, putting people in this hierarchy where they are always subservient to their job or whatever makes them not prioritize their own health, which you can see in terms of overwork and other stuff. They don't have time for children. The whole like hikikomori movement, other stuff, it can be seen as a reaction to this, or suicides as a reaction of not wanting to conform to society. And it also affects the general vibe of, if you hear people talk about Tokyo being, people being, what we call impersonal or maybe even rude, but maybe like New York. But the real thing is people are mostly just depressed, which is not like the most excited way to think about it. But it's not that they're like rude and square or whatever. It's that they literally are in like a cycle of probably like moderate to severe depression. Yeah, so yes, I definitely don't think you could say is working great. And also keep in mind, Japan has one of the least, has the least productive workforce in terms of per capita revenue being, per capita value being created per hour worked. I'm not sure if we talked about that, but yeah, those are all things that are true and can largely probably be attributed to this system that they have with their educational system. So, and the last thing, just because it's a little fun, which is She said, also, haven't heard of the other two anime Matt suggested, but I finished Shirokuma Cafe, which is why I have pandas on the brain. Ha. It's the only one I found that is sort of kind of Genki-ish. Genki 1-ish. It has a ridiculous sounding premise about talking animals hanging out at a cafe, but somehow it totally works and is actually very funny. So if my opinion counts for anything, it has my stamp of approval. Cheers. Okay, great. I'm happy to hear that. So we can, for confidence, recommend Shirokuma Cafe.
白熊カフェね。
That bell means we've reached the end of today's episode. Thanks for joining us in another lazy conversation towards fluency. If you have any language-related questions and or just looking for general advice, send an email to lazyfluency@gmail.com and we might respond in the next episode. Also, make sure to check out our podcast on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, and more. We'd appreciate the support. This has been Joey.
And Yami.
Signing off. じゃあねー。
じゃあねー。
Arg.